Everybody's Monday today.
Grand Rising, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us this morning. At 9 o'clock a.m., we will close our social media and continue on Zoom only. Join us by getting your Zoom link at elizabethvisionaryconference.org. We'll be there until 10 a.m. You can join us now, and we'll see you in Elizabeth's Zoom room. Today, your hosts are At Peace Makita and Danyelle Claxton. Enjoy.
Grand Rising.
And why?
Oh, look at the queen over here.
Grand Rising.
Hmm.
I don't like this virtual background. Hold on.
Who that is? Who that is?
Okay.
Galaxy Note, can you give us a name? Rename yourself, please. If you don't know how, just write it in the chat, and I'll
Write it in the chat.
write it in the chat.
Good rising, everyone. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
How's everybody doing today? I'm not going to ask anybody to go over the top because I'm not going over the top today. How was your weekend?
It was good.
What made it good?
Dally in the Alley.
I know. I can't believe I missed it.
Dally in the Alley.
I don't know what plane I was on. It was good.
It was wonderful. And the weather was perfect.
Dang, I can't believe I missed it. I don't know what
complaint. And they've made it larger. They've taken it all the way to Woodward on one of the streets and put a band stage down there. Yeah, you really got your workout.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't even know if I would have liked it the same then, because part of the attraction was the fact that it was intimate, you know, it was just us, and now here they go making it all super big.
How dare they grow?
How dare they?
How dare they?
Some things should just stay the same. Like,
right.
There was nothing wrong with it the way it was. I mean, let's think about it. Detroit has not grown that much in population. So it's like, I don't know.
It is an event that grew in popularity, so I can see why they expanded it.
I can too. I just remember the days when it wasn't so.
We just
it was nice and fun and wilding out, and it was just a bomb.
I just realized nothing stays the same. Not even, I mean, back in the day, you used to get stuff that used to be the same for about 10 years. We don't even get that. It stays the same for 2, and then it changes into something else. So you're like, okay, I just go with the flow, because I'm like, nothing is staying the same. Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I welcome you all, ladies, to Mommy Mogul Mindset Mondays. Welcome to M3. I am your host, At Peace Makita, with my lovely co-host, Danyelle Claxton. Wave.
Good morning.
And we are Mommy Mogul Mindset. We are here to bring to you the good tea, the good news about single motherhood and how to stay motivated and inspired so that you can be the best version of yourself you can be, right? And we also talk about mindset over here and what is going on with you mentally, because your mindset usually determines, like they used to tell me in grade school, your attitude determines your altitude. Right? So how you think has a direct effect on your success. And so we talk about mindset over here. And so today, this September, we have a very interesting series, and it's one that I'm going to be counting on all of you ladies to assist and to move forward. You know that I meditate and I get these downloads on what we should talk about. It's not something that I just kind of pull out of thin air. It's something that I actually like meditate on and really think about and contemplate, like, what is it that we need to focus on right now? And so for the month of September, what came to me is The theme for September is reverse the curse. That is the theme for September, reverse the curse. And so if you have a notebook, go ahead and pull it out, boo, because we about to get up into this thing right here. What? Baby, I got mine right here. We about to get up into it, okay? So yeah, just as the title suggests, reverse the curse. Ooh, okay. And we're gonna really get into it this month. We've been doing this podcast since April. And I've been tiptoeing around some things, just kind of spoon feeding y'all just a little bit here and there, you know what I'm saying? But we're about to get into this tea. Okay. Seasons are changing. We started in the spring, so it's nice and flowery in the spring, right? And then we moved over to the summer. Ooh, we had some fun for the summer. Now we're moving into autumn and into winter. So now we're going to start really going deeper into our soul's journey, into all of that deliciousness that's right there. You know what I'm saying? We have to follow the seasons. You understand me, darling? So that's what we're going to do. So for the month of September, as we glide into the autumn season, we're going to start to do some more shadow work. And part of that is starting with reverse the curse. Ooh. So before we even jump into like our meditation, because I have a very special meditation for you, Danyelle, do you have something special to share with the people later today?
Yes, I do.
Awesome, awesome. You want to give them a taste of what they're going to find out, what they're going to be learning today?
It's social media related, and it's around consistency. Consistency. I recently discovered consulting with 2 small business owners this past week on their social media strategies. I discovered going into looking at my reels of my own Instagram, which I haven't done in a while. I discovered some things. I discovered there was a couple of videos that got 2,000 views, got 3,000 views. And I'm sitting here not paying attention. And I'm like, oh, okay. But one thing's for sure is I am consistent about creating reels and posting. So consistency is the key. It's not one and then you go viral. No, you don't know who's watching. You don't know whose soul you're touching, whose message is going to help somebody else out. So consistency is key. Consistency, just consistency. Set it, like I say, how people say, set it and forget it. We'll create it, post it, and just keep it moving. So we're gonna talk about consistency today.
Love it. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all, trying to get my technology together.
Oh yeah,
girl, why the ball rolling? I almost sat down.
And bear with us because we are in our one of our favorite times right now. It comes 3 times a year. It's wonderful. We're used to it.
It's Mercury retrograde.
Hey.
So Mercury,
good catch.
Mercury retrograde is different than the regular retrogrades, because you said 3 times a year. It seemed like retrograde is
what happens? Every planet goes into retrograde, and retrograde is just a visual of going backwards from planet Earth. Everything in the universe continuously goes forward, but the retrograde, Mercury is the most popular retrograde. So that's the one that everybody knows about, everybody prepares for, because the Mercury retrograde, it affects our communication. It affects the way that we hear things, the way that we say things, our understanding. It affects transportation, how we make connections. So it's a huge shift when it goes retrograde. It just gives us an opportunity to slow down. So, but every planet goes into retrograde at some point of the year. Some stay in retrograde for 2 weeks, some stay in for 2 years. It just depends on the planet and the energy. But the Mercury retrograde happens at least 3 times a year, every, quarter or whatever. And you can feel it. I used to think about, I used to think it was like a hoodoo voodoo type of thing back in the day until I actually started tracking it in my own life. And I saw a huge pattern that actually happens around that same time. So
Mhm.
it's good to pay attention to it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, a piece you forgot to mention, it affects the signs, the set of signs differently. So some people, some signs, when the retrograde shows up, it affects a different group of signs each time that it happens, if that makes any sense. So you might be just as peace, everything is cool, nothing's quite going on. You're like, I don't know what retrograde going on. And then, you have like, I don't know, a Libra over here spazzing out because life is just crazy as can be. It affects every sign differently.
Oh,
And the way that I found out about retrograde, I had just gotten into performing in belly dance. And there's a lot of spiritual people in the belly dance community. And this particular first retrograde for me, a lot of exes started showing up from the past. And then a lot of other women's men, it was weird, started hitting on me. And I'm sitting here like, you married, why are you coming at me? Like, it was so weird. I'm like, what is this energy? I had to ask another belly dancer, like, am I doing something wrong? Because I'm not trying. And she was like, oh no, we're in retrograde, you're cool. I'm like, what's retrograde? And then I started realizing, yeah, every retrograde, there's usually for whatever reason, there's some ex that wants to pop up and just be like, hey, how you doing? I ain't thought about you in like 4 or 5 years. What the heck are you? No, stay over there. Just stay over there. And I'm like, it's just weird that all of a sudden you always, for me, I get that one that just wants to pop up around retrograde. Like, how you do? No, no, no. Mm-mm. So yeah, my introduction to retrograde was very disturbing because like, no, I'm not that type of woman. So I'm just like, what the heck? The men were just going crazy. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Um, and usually that is one of the signs around me that usually the men that's closest to me are the ones that start going no. It's like, okay,
And it
what
depends.
season are we? Huh?
It depends on each, like Danielle said, each person is affected differently because it depends on where Mercury is placed in your natal chart. It depends on what sign it's in for that particular season. Like right now, it's in Gemini, then it's going to go back to Virgo, then it's going to go back to Gemini.
wow.
Don't even try to keep up, girl. Don't even try to keep up. Just
That's
mind your business,
Look,
honey.
at peace. That's making sense now. I'm like,
Just mind your
oh, okay. As I drink my coffee, okay.
I'm serious. That is one of the best things that I've learned about how to handle a retrograde, especially a Mercury retrograde. Just fall back, surrender, go with the flow as much as you can. The more you try to sit there and be like, oh, it should be this way.
Mm-mm.
People are going to say they heard things that you didn't say. People are going to say, oh no, but I thought you said meet here instead of here. Just go with the flow. It's going to happen. The whole point of the retrograde is to teach us to slow down and to pay attention to the details.
Read the fine
I
print.
used to think that the retrograde was out to get us. I used to get so stressed and upset during the retrograde. I used to put all these parameters in place, trying to guard myself from the energy. And what I learned is to appreciate it, to embrace that time, to say, thank you, Spirit, for slowing me down. Thank you for allowing me that time to review and to reassess and to, to renew. Like if you want to make new changes, if you want to make new decisions, a retrograde is a perfect time to do that because you're going over the details and the energy is a lot slower, So
I was told it's a good perfect time to review the details, but it's not the perfect time to make any major moves. So
yeah, don't make anything new.
Don't sign any contracts during this season. Just review the details. Make sure the details are in the fine print. Now's not the time to just, if any breakups happen, they usually don't last. Just chill. Just review everything. It's not the time to get into any new relationships. It's like just review the details, just chill. And just, don't make any sudden moves. It's not the time to start a brand new job. Start it after the retrograde. If just anything major, moving, picking up, getting apart, just don't do it during this time right here. Do it after, because we just started Friday, and I believe we're out of this, what is it, October 2nd or October 3rd, I believe, at peace, somewhere around there. So like
So
you
it
said, it's
lasts that long? It lasts about,
Yeah, it lasts.
Yeah.
The actual retrograde itself is a 3-week span.
okay.
It's 2 weeks of a shadow going into the retrograde. Then the planet actually retrogrades. And Mercury specifically is 3 weeks. Like I said, every planet is different. So 3 weeks it'll go into retrograde, and then there's a shadow period 2 weeks after that. So the effects are pretty significant. Like you're gonna feel them. The one thing I would say too is life, life is still going on even when these retrogrades are happening. Some of them you can feel, some of them you can't. But one thing to remember, like for the Mercury retrograde, if you've been working on something for a long time, if you got that new job that's coming in, you got that contract that you have to sign, I mean, life has to continue to happen, right? So, oh my God, it's a retrograde and I have to sign this contract. But what you do is you look at how, if this is something that has been going on before the retrograde, then the retrograde is the ideal time to sign because the details are clearer. The direction you should take, all the fine print, you can see a lot clearer during the retrograde. So if you've been working on it for a while, if it's a relationship that's been going back and forth and you haven't been sure for months on what to do, the retrograde is a perfect time to make those decisions. But like Danyelle said, if it's something brand new, something you haven't even thought about, so just chill and just focus on it. It also can cause breakdowns in transportation because it's about making connections, right? So it can cause a breakdown in your car. You find your computer is glitching, texts aren't going through the way they normally do. I mean, all types of stuff. And I promise you, when the retrograde shifts, everything looked different. You swear up and down that you were so sure during the retrograde. And when that energy shifts, it's like poof, you forgot you even thought that way. It's really, it's a weird phenomenon, but it actually is very effective if you use it right. And then we also, since we're talking about it, we have Mars going into retrograde, which is a big deal because Mars is going into retrograde for 7 months. And when Mars goes into retrograde, that's the way we move. So like we have this impotence right now to just like go, go, go. But when Mars goes into retrograde, it's like, you don't have that same impotence, that same energy, that same flow,
Wow.
So,
Mama Help had her hand up.
Oh, okay, Mama Head, go for it.
I was just mentioning the computer part. My mama at peace mentioned it about the glitches with the computers. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm glad we got off into astrology this morning. That's always a good look. We are going to, I'm sure we're going to dip back off into it before this conversation is over today, because today we're going to be talking about reverse the curse. Actually, the entire month of September, we're going to be talking about reverse the curse. And I picked that title for a reason because I want to trigger something in you when you hear that and when you say that. Reverse the curse. What does she mean? Reverse the curse? Like, oh, we curse? Like, what? It triggered, just the word curse itself triggers a lot in some people. And so I want us to go ahead and dive deep into that. Like I said, September, we're going to be doing shadow work all this month, and really all of this season, we're going to be doing shadow work. So get comfortable, get comfortable with your shadow because it's a part of who you are. You can't get rid of it. You might as well embrace it, honey. Might as well be friends with it, boo, because your shadow's not going nowhere. It's part of you. And so we're going to get off into that. We have actually for today's meditation, it's not, Queen Aduni, if you don't mind sharing your screen. Today's meditation is more of just a lecture, a part of a lecture from one of my favorite mentors. And thanks to Sheila or Queen Aduni, I got to meet her years ago. So one of my favorite mentors is Dr. Jewel Pookrum. And she's actually from Detroit. She is a neurosurgeon and a Black woman who has been studying the brain for probably like 40 years now, 50 years, quite some time. And I discovered her in 2000. Nope. I'm about to tell all my age, honey. I discovered her in 1999. And I discovered her while working in Philadelphia. I was attending Temple University in Philadelphia, and I was working at a financial risk company in downtown Philly. And one of my coworkers introduced me to Dr. Jewel. He was telling me, because I was talking to him about meditation. Back then, nobody was really talking about meditation. We didn't have the internet, so a lot of people didn't know about it. So I was always so happy and excited when I met someone who knew about meditation. And so I'm telling him, you know, my discoveries about it and how it changed my life and all the things I learned. And he's just like, have you heard of Dr. Jewel Pookrum? I'm like, no. He's like, I'm surprised. You're from Detroit. You never heard of her? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh man, let me put you on. And back then we had cassette tapes, right? So he brings to work the next day, like a stack of cassette tapes, like 9 of them, but they were stacked up in like these 3 bundles. And he's like, here you go. And I'm like, what is this? But by the time he had told me about her work and what she had done and what she was about, I was super excited. I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. This is it, you know? And I took the tapes, and that day I actually drove, because in Philadelphia you take a train. I take a train most of the places, but I drove this particular day. I put it in my cassette tape on the way home, and I was hooked. It was just lectures of all of her theories, philosophies, things that she had come up with. And she spoke in great detail about how the brain works. And this particular series was called The 7 Circuits of the Brain. And she talked about all the different circuits of our brain and how they function and how they connect and how they actually are used to connect us to life out in the real world. And all of this was scientifically proven. It wasn't just some ethereal, spiritual, thinking or some theory out in the ethers. This was actually like documented, researched. And it's something that has been documented for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years prior, but definitely in more recent modern times, you can find this information at any Ivy League university. You may not be able to find it in just your regular local library because, information is censored. You may not be able to pull it up right on the internet, but the information is stored in the libraries of the Ivy Leagues. And I think most of you already know that I worked at an Ivy League teaching for 3 years. I worked at Brown University. And I will say, the information that's privy to those individuals is not the same information that's privy to us, okay? It's a whole new world. Like, it's like a whole other world when it comes to Ivy League and the upper echelon and how they think and what they have access to. So they have access to this information. They know the secrets of how our mind works and how to manipulate using certain thought patterns and vibrations and words and hypnotism and all of these different things, and so that's why it's such a pretty penny to go to those schools, because that you're paying for that elite information, right? And so in this particular clip that I'm going to play for you guys today, I was doing my research over the weekend, and I actually found a clip. I'm sorry, my internet is moving super slow. I think this is my first time on it though, and I got all these windows open, so I'm sure that doesn't help. But
retrograde.
That part, period.
It's so funny, Peace, because I just pulled Jewel Pookrum up yesterday.
I'm sure you did, because I like the video. I like the video that we that's what I was gonna say. Like, I was doing my research, I just Googled her name on YouTube, and our video popped up, the video that was taken of us when she came to visit and did the lecture at the loft.
Oh yeah,
it's cool. Up in the algorithm.
Yes.
And she's been dropping some like taking her lectures and putting it to visuals, kind of like how Abram Hicks does it.
Yeah,
she's been doing that with her lectures. If you Google her, you can find some more recent stuff that she's talking about. And What did you pull? And I liked the video, and I was like, Sheila gonna see that I like this video. What did you pull her up for?
No, I was, why did I pull her up? Because, well, one, I want to bring her on, or you could bring her on, or somebody bring her on.
Yeah, I was gonna see if I can get in touch with her.
Okay, cool. That's basically it. Looking for, and then, you know, she came up and I saved it on a page so I can get back to her. So anything I can do to help you to bring her on, that would be awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I think she would be an awesome asset. If you don't, if you haven't heard of her work, I would definitely encourage you to pull it up and to do some study. It's intricate. So to finish the story that I already started with you guys, he gave. You want to buy a house in 2022. So when I asked on Instagram, he gave me, and also on YouTube what people's goals were, that's what I heard a lot. You're doing too much. Because I'm a mortgage lender, that's what people. Okay, he gave me a stack of them, and I just started listening to him. I mean, I was hooked every day, all day. I listened to these tapes. I'm talking about every day, all day. That I had my headphones, walking to the train, cooking dinner, taking a shower. Like I just engulfed myself with the knowledge for months, and it changed my life. I started applying the techniques that she suggested in the cassette, and it changed my life. Like it really did. It opened me up in ways that I didn't even, you know, I didn't see coming. And I didn't know that we had such power available to us. You know, the power of our minds, the power of the way we think, and it really is affecting the way we show up in the world. And it unlocking a lot of that stuff, it helped me to discover At Peace. Because back then I was just Makita, and when I started studying her techniques, it opened up my third eye. I go into meditation, I get this whole visual of who I am to be in the world. You know, you're going to be working with women, and you're going to be, you know, healing, and you're going to be positive and meditating and teaching and all. None of this stuff I was doing yet. The At Peace you know today, that's not who I was back then. I was corporate America, going to work every day in a suit. You know, I was in college. I was just that all pervading, you know, powerful Black woman. I'm single mom. I'm going to make it happen type of energy, which is cool. But when I started studying her, and it started opening me up to a new world of being, and I could actually like come out of my shell and just be myself and create a world that didn't require me to pretend or to play nice, or, you know, to do the jig, the shuck and the jive that a lot of us end up doing in corporate America. It started to pull me out of that. I stopped wearing a watch. I realized that we could like pay attention to the seasons and the sunsets and all. And I started doing that, and I took my watch off. That's crazy in corporate America to take your watch off. That ain't something you do. Because I'm constantly doing this all the time. I have a meeting, I have to catch the train, I have to get Blessing to school constantly. So to take my watch off, to say, you know what, I'm going to follow the sun, you know, to make a commitment every day to honor this feeling that I feel inside myself, even though I don't know what to call it. You know, all of these things started unfolding for me. So when I got into meditation one day, and I knew what I could do, and I stepped into that realm, and I said, hey, show me myself, like show me what it is that my soul can create for my life. And that's when I was shown so much of what I do now was shown to me in that vision. And my name was given to me in that vision. And I'm like, At Peace. Okay. You know, I ain't question it because I knew the power of it. I was like, At Peace. Okay. At Peace. That's different. At Peace. Okay. And then I start seeing what would come of the name. And so I just roll with it, sis. And here we are 20 some years later. And when I tell you the visions that came to me 20 years ago have manifested on so many levels. My children being born. I was just me and Blessing back then. My children being born, the traveling that I've done, the speaking and the performing and all of that stuff. And it was all because of learning the power of being able to tap into my mind's eye and to really know the power of what God has given us. When we say that we are gods and we are goddesses, that's not an understatement. That's not just, oh, I'm just going to say it because it sounds sweet. No, it truly is who we are. Like, there's the most high creator, right? The creator of all. And then there's you. And you are a goddess. You are a god. You have been endowed with this power to manifest, to move, to create, to vision. These are not weaknesses. These are not curses. This is your birthright. This is who you are, you know? And so I'm a living manifestation. All of us on here are a living manifestation of that power and that presence. And now, what other time would be the appropriate time to stand in your godhood and your goddesshood? Like, what time are you waiting for? If you're not standing in your goddesshood and standing in your true power as a divine being, like, what you waiting for? What else has to happen on the planet for you to tap in, right? So we're gonna get right off into it. I know all of us can handle it, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything or hold anybody's hand through this. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in chat or throw them out there. We are all here to learn. We are all here to share. We all have something to give. But let's get right off into it, okay? So let me see. Where's the video that I really wanted to play for you? How to forgive your past. How to forgive your past. Okay, this one right here. I think it's the one that I wanted. All right, so we're going to talk about reverse the curse. And I want to ask you guys before we get started. Let me set this video up first. I want to show you how I pay for my because you know they like to play their ads, honey. They got to get paid, honey. Hold on. Okay, so before we jump into the video really quickly, I want to get some dialogue going. So talk to me about what comes up for you when you hear curse or when I say reverse the curse. What are some of the first things that came up for you? Anybody jump in. I know you heard, felt, thought something, so please share.
Can you say it again? Because I wasn't at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mama Evelyn. I was saying this month we're talking about reverse the curse. That's the theme for this month. We're going to be talking about, you know, where is it that we feel we are cursed? Where is it that, you know, what does that even mean? And how to reverse it or how to overcome it. So give me an idea when I say reverse the curse, because just the word curse alone carries a lot of negative connotation. So, or whatever it triggers in you. What does it trigger in you when you hear that? Reverse the curse. Now, Wheelie, I see your hand is up.
Yes, good day, everyone, beloved. What came up for me is release, and what's the other side? That's what it triggered. Release, and what's the other side, and what's the gift?
Okay, I say, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Reverse the curse.
Well, the first thing that came to mind is, well, you think about the Garden of Eden when they were supposedly cursed by God. You think about women and how they've been trying to curse us since the beginning of time. Those are a couple of the things that I think about, or when they talk about the devil, so to speak, and what he can and cannot do. Things like that.
Ashe. Thank you. Anybody else? Reverse the curse.
I'm jumping in and definitely saying what comes to mind is something that came to mind this whole weekend is changing the connotation about changing the connotation around women's cycles, monthly cycles, because how it's presented is how it's presented as the curse. No, this is a time of celebration. This is a time of beauty. This is a time of rest, relaxation. I started a conversation Saturday morning around, you know, full moons, Mercury retrograde, and my cycle, how it all kind of came at the same time. I put up a post at like 12 o'clock in the morning, and so many women started commenting like, oh, I thought I was the only one. Oh, that's what's going on. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, wait a minute, y'all up? Oh, let's have a conversation around that, around all of this. And so I realized in the last 15 years, my whole how I look at my moon time is totally different than how it was presented to me at 10 years old.
Mm.
I'm like, the whole conversation, and I'm like, this is a time of celebration. This is a time of, honoring yourself, taking time out to love yourself. Yeah, can it be? Yeah, if you're doing the wrong things. And we're taught to do the wrong things, but once you learn how to do the right things and love yourself during this time, it's a beautiful thing. So it's educating women and young girls on the beauty of honoring your cycle, on the beauty of what's in it. Because like I said, how society presents it to us, it's all wrong. So reversing the curse for me is reversing how we think about menses, how we think about periods, how we think about just being a woman, becoming a woman, being a woman. No, there's no curse in that. There's nothing but we are creatresses of life, and it's all about life, all the beauty about life. So yeah, that's reversing the curse for me right there.
Thank you. All right. And when you think about curse, let's get clear. So we're all using the same or similar working definition. So curse simply is a cycle, a continuous cycle, right? That moves you in a circle and takes you out of the spiral. Or remember, we talked a couple weeks ago about how life moves in a spiral going up, right? And if you're not learning from experiences, if you you still keep hitting the same point on the spiral, your spiral is going to be coiled like this. It's going to be tight. But when you're learning experiences and you're expanding and you're growing, the coils widen and they space out because you're not hitting the exact same point every time you go around the spiral, right? And so a curse is when you just keep hitting that same point. You can't get your spiral to open up for nothing. Or your spiral now is just a circle. It just goes like this, round and round and round. And that's the inhibitant of life. That's not life itself, right? And so when we talk about curses, we talk about being in a cycle that seems as though you can't get out of, being in a cycle that seems as though is the only way, right? And so knowing that we are creators, knowing that we have the ability to create, we have the ability to break cycles, to change them up, to imagine something new, to create, to be creative, right? Then it is our choosing on some level to be cursed or in a cursed or sick cycle, a repetitive cycle that we can't seem to get out of. All right. And curses don't have to be super dramatic, a generational curse where you have a whole mass of people all moving in the same circular motion. That's what a lot of us address a curse or think of a curse. That's what we think of. But there are things that we do every day to keep the curse alive, right? We may be part of a particular generation or particular set, but at the end of the day, we are a collective of individuals. And so as an individual, we have to look at what are we doing every day to participate in the curse or to keep that cycle going when it needs to be broken, right? And there's so many things. So think about that, write it down in your journal, or you can share it if you like, write it in the chat, raise your hand, throw it out there. But what are some things that you're doing or that you are aware of on a daily basis that would be considered a curse? It's something that you do all the time, you've been doing for a while, you know that it's toxic, or you know that it's something that just no longer serves you. It no longer brings you joy. It no longer feeds your soul and where it is that you want to go. Right? Where is that in your life?
Mama Evelyn's hand was up.
Go for it, Mama.
Okay, well, it's twofold. It's the relationship with money and the illusion that there's not enough, and just the way I've handled money and coming around to the same point again, no transportation, low funds, trying to figure out things. But I believe I'm coming out of the spiral in a way that, because it's not so tight, I don't shut down so much and like, oh, it's like, okay, it's gonna work itself out. And while it works itself out, I'm gonna go over here and do what I know how to do. Okay. It's not so, I don't know what, trying to figure it out myself. I cannot figure it out myself. I will not try to figure it out myself anymore. I will let the expert spirit, God, ancestors, angels, let them figure it out and tell me what to do. That's because, when things get to the point where, we're not sure how we're going to do, and I just take a deep breath, and I no longer wind myself down to feeling paralyzed. So that's the one thing, is the money thing, and then it's the, around the health thing that we keep doing. I'm so tired of cooking. I am so tired of trying to figure out what we're gonna have for dinner. It drives me crazy. All I want to do is just fix a quick 30-minute meal, and that's it. So
how often, I'm about to give you something that can help now, and this is for all of us, this is for everyone. One of the things that, Danielle, I see your hand. One of the things that can help with breaking the curse, here's one of the steps, because we're going to talk about how do we start to reverse the curses. And that's the other thing I want to talk about too. There's a difference between breaking a curse and reversing it. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But one of the things that you can do for sure that will help to reverse a curse, and if you need to break one, it'll help to break it, is think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about. And so when I hear you say, I'm tired of cooking, I want to be able to just, throw something in, it's ready in 30 minutes. Now, if some of you, I have been studying NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, the voice in our heads. I have been studying that voice in an official certificate program for a few months. And I've actually been studying NLP for years. And so one of the things about our mind is that it moves in pictures. And so we can say all day, I want to do this, I want to do that. But if we're not formulating it in pictures in our minds, the chances of us creating it become very slim. And so what I want to offer to you, Mama Evelyn, is every day for at least 5 minutes, or every time you feel that feeling where it's like, I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and I want you to pay attention to the picture that you're creating in your mind in that moment. I want you to look at it. Okay, whatever that looks like for you, it could look like anything, but whatever it is, I want you to identify it in that moment. Not just the feeling, not just the words, but what images are coming up in your head for you when you feel that way. And then shift it. Spend some time actually sitting down and seeing yourself have a meal made in 30 minutes. Take the time to do that every day. Every day, take the time to see yourself having that meal made in 30 minutes. It's not magic. It's not mysteriously going to happen. You applying the attention and putting the attention into the image, that image is then produced out of the ether. It's then produced out of, spirit. It's then produced out of, and then it shows up. So if you're not spending time actually thinking about what that's going to be like, and how is it going to make you feel, what is it going to look like, go in detailed as possible. Are you working at your station, and then what happens that lets you know that you achieved that goal? You see yourself working at your station, and then an alarm pops off, and then you realize dinner is ready. and then you see yourself going and getting it, coming back, sitting down, eating your food. You see what I'm saying? So start to play around with those images, and that can definitely help to create something new for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Danyelle.
Okay, so I wanted to just share with Mama Evelyn, because I have been where you're at. It's a certain cycle that I want to say it's everything is in the mind and everything is in what you say and what you say. And that our tongue is the most powerful thing that, you know, our worlds are created by what we say. I've been in this last couple of months, I've been in a very unique situation where I can't, because I hide money in different places, I can never say that I'm broke. Whenever my account gets zeroed out, somehow magically money just shows up, opportunities just show up. I'm going to share with you, Mama Evelyn, a playlist that I have on my iPhone that I listen to on a daily basis. And it's concerning one because I had to change my relationship with money. I had to change not only how it comes, but how it's treated, how it and I work together. And in changing my mindset around money, I swear, there's times where I don't worry about where it comes from. It just shows up, and it shows up right in the nick of time when something happens, or I realize I have more control in situations. I can change durations, I can change due dates, I can change whatever. I don't have to stress over this. I really don't. And it's just what we say and what we do, little things that we do. And I'll share some things with you, Mama Evelyn, you know, make a huge difference. And opportunities and stuff just show up. It just shows up. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to keep saying that I'm a money magnet. I'm going to keep saying that the right people show up at the right time. You know, I don't have to chase after this. It's going to show up, and it does show up. I swear these last couple of months, it's been showing me, hey, I'm right here. You ain't got to worry. Just treat me right, you know, and make sure that I'm taking care of you, you taking care of me. And I swear to go from where my relationship was years ago, where I really didn't know where it was coming from, to where I'm at now. It's like, oh, you know what? I got this. I have to calm myself down. I don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry, but you do have to watch the language that you say, because like I said, we create our worlds. So I may be a little financially challenged, but you will never hear me say that I'm broke, because I'm not. Even if I got 5 cents in an account somewhere sitting on a card somewhere, I'm not broke. I'm not broken. So, you know, I can get through a financial challenge. So just watch your words. Start speaking the words over you of the reality that you want, and you'll be surprised how that actually starts to show up. I'm gonna give it back to that piece. That's all.
Gotcha. Anybody else have their hand up? Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and watch the video. So make sure you have a pen and paper in case you want to take notes. This is just a segment of one of her lectures. All right.
Because the experiences they have are really not the issue. Again, none of them had to be the turtle with no mama daddy and jump in the ocean and have to navigate that for 250 years. So it was because the mama left you, or the daddy beat you, or even incest. It is what it is, but how you value it and judge it is what will make you or break you. Do you understand that? And we have examples of that, where people can do all kinds of things, but they don't have a value on it. What has happened to me, we don't have a value on it. It's just a fact, it happened, but this is where I am, and they move on. They have no chemistry in the muscles and in the tissues that inhibit them from having new experiences, because they didn't judge the past, and they don't linger in it. You understand what I'm saying? Any experience you have is the opportunity for you to become wise and to actually see your divinity in it. That's what these experiences are about. And if you give them any other precedence in your life, you're going to make yourself an addict, and you're going to basically totally sabotage the quality of your life. And so it doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter how famous you are, etc. If you do not know how to work your mind, to use your mind, to use your willpower, to incorporate that under a spirit, you are going to jam yourself. We have examples of that. Whitney Houston is an awesome example of that. So in most people's eyes, she had everything going for her, but we recognize that she didn't have much going for her because nobody and all that money and all that fame ever taught her how to use her brain and her mind, and so she jammed herself up. So we all think that, having these things are the answer. No, it's not. If you have a brain and a mind that is coordinated and works properly, you can have all of that and far more. And you can have it on your own terms when you want it. And it will not destroy you. So I was listening on the radio, they were interviewing some gentleman who was writing about Daryl Strawberry and how awesome he was, etc. And he was a thorough, inundated emotional addict. And all he could talk about was something that happened with his mother, I think, or he had a mother or father issue. And they said that, his athletic skills were incredible. The Caucasian people were just dribbling at the mouth about it. They just had 1 ounce of his skills and talents, what they could do with it. And he was out somewhere last with some foolishness. And just totally sabotaged himself over the past. Just totally out of control, emotional body, mind just going awry. And we sit there and we look at this and we just basically act like it has no meaning, no message for us, etc. That is the residue of slavery. Expecting master to take care of it. Master knows best. Master take care of it. We just sit there and watch and just record it and gossip about it. Because a sovereign person takes care of themselves. Nobody knows their business. Nobody knows them better than they know themselves. So they don't ask anybody to take care of their business. They take care of it themselves. And if they don't know how, they get busy figuring it and finding it out. So the great people that we have, if we would become a sovereign person, first of all, in spirit and in mind, we could save these great people.
If you want to ace your pick.
All right. Any thoughts on that? Do share.
I would like to just first of all, thank you for sharing that, Mama.
You welcome.
Something that's really key about what she said, and I was just jotting down some notes, is when she mentioned that, like, our previous generations were, were enslaved and then coming out of that, I don't know if there really was that, but in the change, how we think, we weren't allowed to speak, and so how can we have elders who will share when they were shut down in language, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How do we, where is the first experience when we learn to begin to talk and share? A lot of things were done from, in studying our culture. Women got together and taught each other, and we don't have that now. You know what I'm saying? We have it now, but that was something that was missing once we were brought here and broken up of our traditions and things that we did. They would sneak and do them and still do them, but in transition of coming to a different point in time in life, you had that very strong foundation, then you move to where it's broken up and crumbled, or attempted to be broken up and crumbled, and then the recovery. How do we, when do we get back to that which we were taught? what we were, before we got to this place.
Reverse the curse.
Exactly. So, that's a really big thing, because if you're under, let's say my great grandmother, they had different societies and getting back together, but you have other families where they're totally they don't do anything until somebody passes away, and breaking that is having the communal gatherings. That's where those things come from, when we have come, because sometimes you may not be able to be in communication like that with your family, so you have to find another cipher to begin to change, to make changes and be the change that you want to see. But it's just really something that when that generation prior doesn't do a thing, now we have this gap. And there, to me, that would be a curse, because I was asking, what's the difference between a curse and somebody keep making the same decision?
Mm-hmm.
So I think now, thinking about it, because you brought it to the attention, the curse is the lack of whatever, the whatever, you got to fill it in for whatever would fit there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really what I've been thinking about, is that that you can't talk, don't look at anybody, and then we began to treat ourselves like that. I remember walking around in Wayne State. Instead of talking to my people, I would put my head down so I wouldn't have to speak. And once I realized what I was doing, I said, nope. I said, I'm going to hold my head up and I'm going to speak to everybody I walk past. If they don't say nothing, it's okay. I could be talking to the grass and the trees. It don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to alter the way we think.
And thank you, Mama. And you made a really good point there at the end. You altered or you shifted your behavior. Like once you got conscious of it, okay, let me shift this behavior. And that's one of the ways to reverse the curse. When we talked earlier about breaking the curse, did somebody say something? I'm sorry. Oh, when we talked about reversing the curse and breaking the curse, what comes to mind? What does that mean to you? What is there a difference between breaking the cycle and reversing the cycle? Anybody? I be trying to get y'all engaged because I can talk. I can talk and I can talk and I can talk some more. So don't get upset now. Somebody I talk too much.
At peace, I want to say you're helping us. Not the other word, that 20 glute squeezes for everybody. Every time somebody said 20 glute squeezes for everybody. Yay.
Okay.
Thank you for all that you share. Grand Rising, my sister.
Grand Rising, beautiful. How are you?
Blessed to be with you. This cipher, I'm just learning that word. Thank you, Mama Het. So reversing for me would mean going back to the good that was the blessing that we're supposed to be operating in. Breaking would mean.
You went mute. Unmute yourself.
Eliminating, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Eliminating, ceasing behaviors, traditions that we never should have taken on in the first place, and going forward into that version of ourselves that we were created to be, which in a sense is reversing, but I'm seeing a difference in taking behaviors and taking them back to what they should be. Some things have evolved that are called things that they should be, but are not those things. And I can't give you an example right now, but if you don't quite understand what I'm saying, I guess I
feel what you're saying.
Okay, so, it may be something as simple. Let me put it in these simple terms. We call all facial tissues Kleenex, but not all facial tissues are Kleenex.
Right, Kleenex is a company.
Right, so a facial tissue that doesn't have the qualities of Kleenex, we're still calling it Kleenex, but it's not. So
that's a good example, Mama.
Simple as I could think of. So there's things that we do say, practice, that we call what it originated from, but it's not what it originated from.
Mhm.
So reversing for me will be going back to Kleenex.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Queen Aduni?
Yeah, when you say reversing versus breaking the curse, reversing the curse. Reversing to me means to go back to, turn around. Breaking is to destroy and create something brand new. When you break a curse, then you get to create what blessing you want to happen in your life. If you reverse it, it could be going back to something else. And we being creative beings, then why not create something new? And the other thing, when you asked what came to when you first said it, right? What came to my mind? What came to my mind was family curses. When they say your family is cursed, it may be in finances. It may be that
addictions.
Yeah, right. Incest, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, when the family and are in the church, if you don't pay your tithes, you are cursed. And that's a big one because people, that's a real big one that's used, I think, sometimes not in a pureness of teaching, but in if you don't do this, will happen to you. And when people are struggling, blah 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 blah, or whatever those excuses are or reasons why, then you just get stuck in that. That's why it's happening, because I haven't paid my tithes, or why it's happening. Oh, that's normal. This uncle did it, the one before that did it, the one before that same old thing. And to reverse it, like I said, to me, reverse means to go back to. But what are you going back to? If it's not the holiness of it, you get to create. You just break it. And what I see in breaking a curse. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not some things that are really deep. I was watching Snow White the other day, right? So in Snow White, the woman put the curse on her, and there had to be something done in order to break that curse. But usually what I see is there's a change. And what I've also experienced is that there is sometimes rituals that someone who's more advanced than you, spiritual rituals that will break that hold that is on your life so that you can make a different choice. It's about your choices. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. But whenever that happens, you must put something new inside there. Otherwise, you just go right back to what you were doing before. So in breaking or reversing, whichever one you want to say, but definitely in breaking it, there has to be something new that steps in your daily practices, so that that new thing takes a hold. And yeah, that's what I saw in reversing. Reversing is going back. Breaking is creating something brand new. Breaking so that there's a clearing space for what new thing that you want. Okay.
Love it. Thank you. So thank you for sharing that perspective. And I love it. That's exactly the premise for what I was saying. You can reverse it, that has a certain outcome, and you can break it, that has a certain outcome, right? For the sake of this conversation, when you think about reversing the curse, what I want you to think about every time we bring this up for the entire month, we're reversing the curse, meaning the curse that has been put on us on a soul level. I'm a firm believer that you can't break a soul. You can lose your soul, okay, but that core part of who you are, the creation part of you, the part of you that came here all with a specific purpose, a specific mission, the soul of who you are that keeps you connected to your God essence, right? That's something that is going to be with you. Even when you walk through the valleys of hell on earth,
Yeah.
your soul will be with you, right? It may be tattered, bruised, beat up, tattered. It may be holding on by a thread, but it's in there, right?
Right.
And so when we talk about reversing the curse, we want to go back to our original state of being. We want to return to our original state of pureness, right? And the curse that has been put on us that we're not pure, that we're sinned and dirty and foul, and we are a disgrace to God, and we're despicable. And bro, that thought process alone will send you into some asylum somewhere, because life itself is challenging enough. So to walk around thinking that you are the scum of the earth on top of it is just, we got to stop it. We got to stop it. We got to stop. Okay. So, and what we're talking about today is, how do we get back to that purity of ourselves? How do you find that soul within yourself that moves you away from the conversations of the world? I think one of the reasons why this conversation was so important to me is because as a people, we have fed into a lot of the conversation about who we are as a people. And I don't mean who we are as a people in terms of civil rights, who we are as a people when it comes to racial issues, economic issues. All of those things are important. They are an output of who we are as soul beings. And as Black people, as African people, I put all of this in parentheses because, I mean, at the end of the day, you are a soul being. You came here to embody God through your essence, whatever that shows up as. And none of us can judge. Lord knows we try. But at the end of the day, that's not our place either. Our place is to love. Our place is to create, right? Our place is to serve, and I'm talking to the soul beings right now. Everybody does not pick this. Every time you lay something like this down, everybody's not going to pick it up, and it's okay. Okay. I would say if you got 10 people in the room, 3 of them at best are in touch with their soul's purpose and who they are as a soul being. Most of us are addressing ourselves as something else, for survival, for fear of acceptance or denial, for whatever your issues are. But life will take you through a series of things where you will get to a place in your life where you realize that the only thing that matters is you and your relationship with your Most High, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else on the planet that really matters, for real, for real. Mm-hmm. It's all temporal, for real, for real. And us moving closer to that surety of who we are, the surety of what brought us here, the surety of who we belong to, that right there is how you're going to navigate through the craziness and the foolishness that is sure to come, because we got more on the docket. Okay. But in order to navigate through that, we have to remember that we're sovereign beings. Sovereignty is not on a piece of paper. Sovereignty is here and here and here. Right? And the pandemic is a wonderful example of your sovereignty. Oh, you got to get an injection. Do I really have to get an injection? And are you willing to stand in your sovereignty for that? Or whatever it might be. It could be anything. That was just an output of a smaller thing. But every day we choose our sovereignty. And so, as a soul being, reversing the curse, going back to your original state of being, okay? What are some things that we need to incorporate? What are some things that we can do right now today? You don't have to wait. You don't have to go and, kill a chicken and pour the blood out by a tree and, you know, throw some curry shells. You don't have to do any of that. You can start right here, right now, to reverse the curse, to go back to your sovereignty, to return to your soul's purpose of who you truly are as a soul being. It's available to us no matter what, wherever we are at any moment. And so from our own experiences, and we all share them, let's share with each other, because we don't know what struggles either any of us are really going through to get back to that sovereignty. But what are some things that we can do to get back to our sovereignty, or to stay true to our sovereignty? Because just because you're true to your sovereignty, just because you're in your sovereignty as a soul being, doesn't mean that it's easy. So what are some things that we can do to share with each other on how do you get reverse and go back to your original soul's being if you're not there? And you know it because you can feel it in your heart. And what are some things that to do to stabilize our soul, to ground us, to keep us rooted in these crazy times? You know, meditation is always one of them, but there's so many other things. So I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Mama
But
Het's hand is up. Dear.
Okay, thank you. Mama Het.
Wow, Happy, you really taking me deep, 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 deep. I just wanted to bring to share or just bring up one part. You know, I sometimes when I get down, when I get low, um, I weep sometimes just thinking about, you know, why is it us, our people? Why are we the ones who are treated the way we are by everybody else? And then, because I look at it as it could be a curse, but then when I'm coming out of it, I go, wait a minute. But look what all of the things that we've done. And so that helps me come out of it, because it really takes me, it really hurts, because I'm like, what did we do to deserve to be treated the way that we are? But like I said, when other people know all the greatness that you've done and see themselves not in the equation, I guess that could be quite frightening to others. But when you were asking us what can we do to make the change, we can study and do research. We can also have conversations with other people and create ciphers like the Elizabeths have, because I know that this has been helping me as a woman and as a human being, as a spiritual person, a person with spiritual essence. And when we talk like this, it'll have us. That's why I like to use the spiral. That's why I like the word spiral, because then we'll go. It's like being like Elizabeth is a drop in the water. And then once you drop a drop of water in water, then it, you know, you begin to see that ripple. And so that's what we're doing. Now we go to different places and say, oh, we talked about this. Boom. And then it sends that signal out. And eventually, sometimes it'll come back to you, because I remember Danyelle was saying earlier that she didn't realize she had 2,000 views on the video, because she had to go back and look. You know, and sometimes you may not necessarily even get the hits, because the other thing that happens is that people will come up to me, because I don't think, you know, it doesn't look like anybody's watching. If you look at your likes and your comments, nobody's watching, like 3 people. But when you go outside and people come up to you and say, thank you, Mama Het, for doing blah, 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 because I saw and I'm doing the right. So I'm like, I go like this. I go, really? So I said, now I have to look at the video. If you're using your video, your social media for your interaction, then you go back and look and see that, oh, look at the views. Those are the people that you touch. They said the most important people are the ones that don't say anything, you know? So that's with challenges to your business. You got to be mindful of the ones that, but they're also the ones that don't say anything, but they are experiencing, or they are taking in what you're saying. So be not discouraged. But yeah, the research and learning, and go back and research what it is you're doing. Look at the reason why. I like to look at the reasons why a thing is a thing. You know, why am I hurting, or why Why am I feeling exuberant now when I know this is going on? You know, especially with the pandemic, because I had already been on the road and had been through an experience. I think I embrace it, because I say thank you for letting me go through that now, because everything I went through personally before COVID with mess, I needed that. I needed what I learned during that time to help me get through this moment. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Shame. Thank you, Mama.
Star
That's right.
has her hand up.
Who?
Star.
Okay. Yes, Star.
First of all, I wanted to answer Mama Het's question about why they're always messing with us. And in my opinion, they say that mediocrity always attacks excellence. And we as a people are excellence. They know that. They don't want us to know that. Some of us do, some of us don't. But I believe that that's the reason why they do. And in answer to your question piece, we have to change our mind. That's the first thing. We have to change the way that we're thinking. When I found out that I am where I am in my life because of the choices that I made, well, it gave me back the power, because now I know, okay, if I just make a different choice, change the way that I'm thinking, then my life will change. And so that is my answer to your question.
Thank you, Star. And that sparked in me something I wanted to make sure I share with you guys. One of the most powerful things that I learned as a creatress through meditation is, if you can create a thing, you can uncreate it. So whatever it is that you're going through, if I find myself in a challenge, I'm like, dang, how'd I get here? Okay, all right, I created it, now I can uncreate it. How do I uncreate this thing? I created it, how do I uncreate it? You understand? The power is always in your hands. You created that thing. If you don't like it, uncreate it. You might not like what you got to go through to uncreate it, but you can still uncreate it. I mean, you're not a victim. And that's the other thing that I want to touch on. Reversing the curse.
Say it one more time. Say that one more time. I got to write it down.
Okay. If you created it, you can uncreate it.
Sounds like a t-shirt to me.
Listen, we about to make some Elizabeth cards. That's all I'm saying. Let's go.
If you can create it, you can uncreate it. So take the pressure off of yourself. Like, this is a huge game changer for me years ago. And I was like, what? I got like, okay, period. When you step into that space, you are never a victim. You are the creatress. You are the goddess, no matter what. Yeah, you might have to go in there and clean up the mess, but hell, you created the mess. You can clean it up. You understand? So I know that we as soul beings need to step into that space of sovereignty and step into that space of knowing, just knowing, like, let's see, because I could go way off, but I got my notes because the downloads be coming, so I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm going to stay right here. Reversing the curse really comes down to, like Star said, our mindset, the way we think, the way we're seeing it. As soon as you change, one of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite quotes is, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Mm-hmm. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. And that's on a metaphysical level as well as a physical level, because it has been scientifically studied and proven that when we observe an object on a molecular level, that object is shifting and it's changing. We're changing the molecular structure of something when we look at it, just by looking at it. So let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes. I want to control a particular individual. I'm going to paint a picture of that individual. And I'm going to, so every time I look at that individual and every time someone else looks at that individual, they are creating the outcome that I want. And as long as that individual is not aware of how they see themselves, then what I create, the projection that I put on that individual, can live on for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Sound like some Willie Lynch model to me. Huh?
I'm going to say it again. If I want to change a molecular, if I want to change a particular individual and I want others to assist me in that, I'm going to project a particular image or an idea of that particular individual. And I'm going to get others to project it as well, so that then the molecular structure of that individual will have to change and it'll have to shift, because that individual is ignorant of their power and who they really are and what they really can do. Because if that individual was awoke and that individual said, oh, no, I'm not that, I'm this, then it automatically shifts and changes my projection that I put on that individual, because that individual is the god and goddess of themselves. Who they say they are is who they say they are. Think about Tarzan. I was helping my children understand this over the weekend. Tarzan, you can't tell that man he ain't a monkey. You cannot. I don't give a damn what you do. Put him in a suit, put him in the biggest millionaire mansion at the cliff of the Hollywood, give him the best food, let him drive in the best cars, honey. At the end of the day, if that man say he a monkey, damn it, he a monkey. Ain't nothing you can do. Okay? So if I walk around and I tell you a nigga is a lazy person, a nigga is a lazy person that don't want to work, don't want to do nothing, they ain't about nothing, bye. Every time you hear the word nigga, it's triggering off in you. And you feel where I'm going with this? Because you haven't defined for yourself who you are. I grew up in an environment where money was not the issue. We had money, but we didn't have mindset. See? And so in being raised in that environment of not having the mindset, honey, what did the money did us no good. I mean, yeah, there were trips and furs and cars and clothes and all this other shit. But the mindset, bruh, woo, baby, was not there. And so in my upbringing, I was told a lot of things about myself that I had to unlearn. I had to uncreate. A lot of things were created in me that I had to uncreate. Colorism was a big thing, because I'm dark skinned, because my hair was short, because, I had big lips and African features in my own family, like in my own environment. This is what I'm being told. You understand what I'm saying? No one ever wants, like, all types of stuff. We didn't even want to go down that road. But what I'm saying to you is, as a little girl, my father taught me, as a very young child, my father taught me, you don't have to buy into any of that. You don't have to own none of it. You a queen. You're this, you're that. And he came in and he started just beating me over the head with positive affirmation from the time I was 5 all the way up. Just positive affirmation, positive affirmation, positive affirmation. And that is what helped me to, okay, you got to have contrast, right? And so that's what helped me to kind of come up out of that mental fault, that mental destructive abuse. It was mental abuse at the end of the day, right? And so how I see myself, I know now at 48 years old, how I see myself is the most important, is the only opinion that matters, my dude. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, what? At the end of the day, okay? So you got to own it, because at the end of the day, you know how many things I've been through that the people who have opinions weren't there when I went through them? So, and like my older sister, I have an older sister in Philadelphia. She taught me this, because I did, when I was in my early 20s, when I was in the military, I considered taking my life. I didn't want to be here anymore. And I had some things going on, just the pressures of being in the military. I had my first major breakup, just self-identity crisis. I was going through it. So my older sister, she flew down from Philadelphia and, you know, SOS, like, girl, no, snap out of this. This is not what we do. Get yourself together. And she pulled me out of the trenches, right? And one of the things she told me that stuck with me back then, that is still my motto today. This is how I'm about to give you the formula for how you determine, you know, if it's that person you like, but they just, let me tell you something. If they don't feed you, if they don't fuck you, excuse my language for those who are offended, and if they don't finance you, okay? If they not about them 3 bottom lines right now, baby, they don't matter. Have several seats. If they don't feed you, fuck you, or finance you, they can have several seats. Okay? Yep, that's how that go.
That's just a strong verb, everybody. Some words are just strong verbs, okay? Just strong verbs needed for the message.
And at the end of the day, it's called language. And if we said that word across the globe, they would know what it means. So it's about the meaning you give it. At the end of the day, I said what I said because I meant it. Okay? If they don't feed you, fuck you, or finance you, if they are not part of your bottom line, for real, like if they don't have that type of influence on you, they are your outer circle. And there's an outer circle, and then there's an inner circle. Okay? I have an outer circle and I have an inner circle. And this is how you're able to stabilize. This is how you're able to ground. This is how you're able to identify and stay a sovereign being. Who is your inner circle? Who are those people that matter most to you? Who are those people that float your boat for real? Like at the end of the day, if they're not happy, you not happy. Those are the people that are your inner circle. Everybody else is on the outer. Yeah, they matter, but to what degree? Like, we worry too much about what's going on outside of us. Baby boy, baby girl, that is not, no. That's how the mental psychosis can carry on. Slavery, as they've depicted it to us, because I'm not completely sold on the story, but that's another day. That's another story for another day. Okay. But the story that has been depicted to us, right, is continually being perpetuated every day. When we walk around and we worry about what Massa said on social media, we're perpetuating the slave mentality. When we sit back and have long discussions and conversations about the pandemic, or long discussions about that shooter, that shooter that happened over in Washington, and but what about Trump and what you might as well be sitting on a plantation gossiping. Like, it's not helping your bottom line. It's not creating anything new in you. So we have to reverse the curse in remembering who we are as soul beings and why we came here. Can you participate in that stuff? Yeah, but that should be 15 to 20%, at best. 15 to 20% should be spent of your day on foolishness. The other 80 to 85%, you need to be focused on your soul's mission. Go ahead, Het.
I just want to say that if you call me a nigga, then I'm gonna look up the word and find out that the word came from the Gus, which means black king, and it's also
period.
So now that's how I'm gonna reverse the curse you put on me. Okay.
Niggas.
Thank you and thank you.
Yes, the niggas. Yes. The niggas.
I shared that with my students, and then they started walking around each other. Hey, niggas. I said, make sure you say it right now. Hey, nigga, now they walking around saying that. I'm like, oh man, I caused another because they don't know. Now the teachers don't know. Now the children have to enlighten them.
Because that was it. That was a word that we used to describe ourselves as gods and goddesses when we came over here.
So they took our word and made it into their word, and then gave it back to us, and we don't have no knowledge. So that's why it is for us. Because Haru was telling me that they looked up the word nigga in the Webster dictionary, and him and Sister Mayat wrote the dictionary and let them know this word came from the word in the Gus. Word became put in the dictionary.
Okay, period. So look up the Dogon tribe in Africa. They are considered the most ancient tribe on the planet. And they're the ones who who refer to themselves as Negas, Negus, I believe.
Negus, yeah.
Negas. And so Negas are the serpent gods and goddesses. It's a whole deep history. And so when we came over here and we were calling ourselves Negas, then, and this is the other thing that I want to put out here too, is that the Western world, European Western mindset, okay, it is a real thing. Their mindset is different from those people of color, not just Black people. We got to move away from the color Black, but people of color, the diaspora, because our African diaspora goes deep, right? If you have a drop of melanin in you, hey, you part of the home team. So our diaspora goes deep. So you have Caucasians, which are primarily non-melanated, and then you have of color, Asian, Latino, African, right? Indigenous, some would say. Okay, so these are two different sets. Human, yes. So that's a whole nother argument for another day. We'll talk about it another time. But for this conversation, human, yes. Okay. However, mindset is different. If we move away from the judgment of that, let's move away from, oh, because they thought this happened, and because we thought that happened. Let's just move that away for just a second. And let's just look at it for what it is, flat out. Caucasians think one way, people of color think another way. Non-melanated people think one way, melanated people think another way. Take the emotion out of it and just look at it for what it is, right? So if Caucasian people, let's just say the whole Caucasus Mountains, we're just going on what we know, Caucasus Mountains, they were right. So they're going to automatically think a different way, right? Because they were up in some mountains in the cold. Then you have the Africans or people of color. We were down here in the sun, dancing in the sun, playing in the ocean, right?
Thanks for it.
Two different mindsets. One is not better or worse than the other. Right. One is not right nor wrong. Okay? It is what it is. And the reason why it's so important that we accept this principle of isness is because without it, you can be treated like a pawn or a puppet. If I can control you emotionally, I got you, period. And that is what is killing our people. The addiction to the emotionalism, the addiction to the feeling of victimhood. Yeah. Not realizing or giving ourselves permission to return to who we really are. You ain't got to go through all that. You ain't got to argue with nobody about nothing. Okay? And that's just what it is. And so we have to learn we have to reverse that. We have to relearn that thing. Okay? And realizing that the curse is really here. Caucasians, they think one way, they're not gonna change. Take it from somebody that interracially dates. I know what I'm saying. They're not changing, okay? We not changing either. So now what? What we gonna do?
Take care of the earth.
We both were created and brought here by the Most High, whether we agree on how we should live or not. At the end of the day, every living energy that is here was brought here by the Most High Creator.
All right, teach.
Period. So your feelings about how you feel about it, you've got to deal with that at the end of the day. Because for whatever the reason, the Most High thought it appropriate.
Yep.
Mama Omani, I see your hand up.
Unmute yourself, dear.
Unmute yourself, love.
Okay, I said I was going to be quiet and just listen, but I got a couple of things to say. Okay, so we started off with reverse or break the curse. I'm saying how about we could try forgiving the curse and disappearing it?
Don't try.
Okay, we can take try out,
No.
but we have to attempt. Let's try that word. We have to attempt. Go ahead, Hector. I see you. We have to attempt to forgive ourselves and the generational curse, as they have called it, and forgive it and disappear it, because this can actually be gone. So I want to say that. Then the other thing is when what was hetero? She was talking about, oh, why Black people had a curse. Well, I read something the other day that was really profound about why we have the curse. If any of us on here believe in reincarnation, we have to believe that we ain't been Black all the time.
True that. True that.
Okay,
True
so we ain't
that.
been Black all the time. So of course, y'all know I teach the Course of Miracles. The Course of Miracles says, how did we get in this situation as Black people? Because when we had the power, what's being done to us, we did.
Ooh, yeah, that's you right.
And the other,
Okay.
and the thank you,
Oh,
Amani.
wait a
And
minute, hold on, let me
oh,
finish.
I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. So that piece right there. And there was one other point. Oh, when she talked about, I forget her name, she talked about things have been given different names. You have to, that is so true. And you have to be very careful about how we have renamed stuff to dilute it so you don't get the true meaning of what's being said. So I and there's one more point, but when I think about it, I'll come back. Those are the things I want to say.
Thank you, Mama.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Woo! Thank you for reminding us.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so
okay, wait a minute. I remembered the whole other thing.
okay.
Like right now, we are in the age of Aquarius. The thought system that we have been under and dealing with has shifted. And we have to make sure that we're making the shift in languaging as the universe is making the shift. The colonizers are falling. The queen is dead. The colonizers are dying. Okay. And so there's this one thing I read the other day that was so powerful. And that is, we are spiritual beings. If we are spiritual beings, spirit don't have no color and spirit don't have no gender.
That's
and
right.
that's powerful.
That's right.
So that's all.
Ashe. Thank you, Mama. Yes, and off of what Mama Omani was saying, one of the things that I just want to put out there, we talk a lot about negative and positive, right? I want to stay away from negativity. I want to be more positive. We talk about, well, just get rid of that thing. We don't need that thing right there. That's just that's causing too many problems. And I just want to encourage you all, especially as we're moving forward with, like Mama Omani said, the queen is dead. There's been a shift on the planet, something serious. If you haven't felt it, honey, just put your toe out there. You can feel it. The shift has happened, right? And so I just wonder, and some of you can share with me what you think about it too, because I really want to learn. But what do you think about this idea that all of this, everything is necessary? So even the things that are painful, that are uncomfortable, that we don't like, that we think shouldn't exist, they actually should exist. They actually should be there. Negativity and positivity are on the same level. There's no one is better than the other. What does that look like in terms of real life? Like, positive energy is positive energy, negative energy is negative energy. But in the law of physics, you need both. You can't create one with, you cannot be in a spirit of creation without there being a negative charge and a positive charge. So when we walk around and we say, I just want to get rid of negativity, I'm always positive, that's not, you're not creating, you're not in the flow and the spirit of creation when you do that. Tap into that negativity that you see, learn from it, walk through it. It's not going to kill you, because in that negativity is the spirit of creation. You cannot walk away from it. This is called an ebb and a flow. An ebb and a flow. And there are times when we are flowing, our power is flowing, our energy is flowing, everything's flowing good. But guess what? It's going to come that time when your energy is going to go back. It's going to ebb back. And it doesn't mean that you made a mistake. It doesn't mean that you're effed up.
It's a new
It
lesson.
doesn't mean any of that. It means you're in an ebb, and you've got to define what in an ebb means to you.
Lesson.
Okay? When I'm in an ebb, I'm resting. I'm chilling. I'm just resting. Because it's like when you give birth, right? You get those contractions, they come in hard and fast. You think you about to pull your head out, lose your mind. And then you have this ebb where you're just resting. Yes, you're just relaxing, because guess what's about to happen? Them contractions about to rev back up and about to beat you over the head some more. And so I just want to encourage you and just kind of throw that out there. Like, the negativity, we don't like it. It makes us uncomfortable, but learn to tap into it. Ride that thing out. Be who you are in the dark, the same as you are in the light. Who you are in the light, you should still be that in the dark.
Right.
Right.
That's what you were saying. We need to, with the shadow. We need to sit down and have a conversation with that shadow, because it's a part of us and it's not going anywhere. It may not always be seen. You see it when the sun shines or when some things are going on, but that is your essence. We have to sit and have the conversation. That's what I had. My journey with my mother's transformation.
I remember that.
And before she left, because of that lesson I learned, it was a good old lesson. If I wouldn't have went through that, I know I wouldn't have been prepared. And it was not a great time for me. But I know that that's what prepared me for my mother transitioning, and also when we went through this blah, 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 the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Pandemic. Yes. So, and then because once I heard the news of the Queen passing, I'm not thinking about the human part of it. Not the human. I'm thinking about what's getting ready to happen to all the world, because I really feel like with the pandemic that I noticed that it was a lot of blacks in office. They mayors, they governors. I mean, we getting big roles, and here come this thing, and now we arriving, and now this slash comes. And then recently with the Queen, I was like, we got to look at the politics of all of this, because that's where it's going to affect the economy and all of this other stuff. Because my thing is, that's why there's been the rev up of the white power. We got to make sure we get all our babies in here. Y'all been done, okay? Y'all listen. First of all, stop acting like you didn't help start this. You made all these. These are your children. We're the mother, and all these children. A lot of these children are their children. Now you got to deal with what did they say? Come out in the wash.
Whatever. Yeah, it'll come out in the wash.
So now you're dealing with these people. Everybody, we're all dealing with what we created right now. Do you want to leave it as it is, or do you want to change it?
It's being changed. Like, change is the most consistent thing on the planet. Change is the only thing we can count on. We can't count on nothing else, but we can count on things to change. And so one of the things I want to share is, in this time, as much as I saw a lot of people celebrating her death, and, I had my comment too, like, oh, okay, confirmation, like, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Signs and symbols, basically, because we don't know exactly when she died and all of that. They make up all of that. But it's the sign and the symbolism of it. I mean, September 11th is around the corner. You already know they had to do something. It's the sign and the symbolism of it. But one thing I'm gonna say is, spend this time. The wisest thing you can do is spend this time from now to spring equinox, focusing on forgiveness, because there's gonna be a lot of unforgiveness going around. So you need to counterbalance that with forgiveness, and not just forgiveness in your heart for the days of society,
right,
but forgiveness in your heart every day, all day, for whatever. Be constantly forgiving. Somebody stubbed your toe. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. So forgiveness and creating, like, use this time where everybody's jumping up and down celebrating and really not knowing what to do with the energy for real. Use the energy to create. Use that energy to create. Where do you want to be by spring equinox? Where do you want to be by April 2024? What are you creating? How are you using it? Because part of why this is out here the way it, because the lower energies, they feed off of all of this. They feed off of all of this energy. So if you're running around boastful and egotistical about what's happening, you're getting fed on. Stay humble, stay humble, stay compassionate, stay forgiving, stay focused on your vision, right? If you can stay in that space, then you can reverse the curse, because the curse is all of this, a lot of, how do I want to say it? Destructive thinking, a lot of destructive energy. You can be constructive or you can be destructive. So it's a lot of destructive energy, and people feel valid because it's on a global scale. It's not valid. We still need to be forgiving. That's our superpower, is that we're a very forgiving people. Be forgiving. Still draw a boundary, draw a line, have your hand on your sword. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to cut whatever you need to cut. Okay? I don't mean be stupid. But at the end of the day, it is our responsibility. To whom much is given, much is expected. It is our responsibility to be forgiving, to be compassionate, to be understanding, right? And to be respectful, even if they didn't show, they don't show, they don't respect when our people that, okay. What that mean?
I know the earth don't care about none of this bullshit, swaggy.
At the end of the day, for real, if it's about survival and staying on the planet, you're not even gonna feed into any of this. If it's really about your survival and about you as a soul being, you find this stuff not entertaining, very, not entertaining at all. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to encourage you in reclaiming your soul's purpose and staying true to your soul's purpose. As a sovereign being, you came here sovereign.
Get your work
You
done.
don't need nobody's permission to be a sovereign being.
Yeah.
Get your work done.
Yeah, I was thinking, at peace, I was thinking about don't be locked up in victimhood.
That part.
Don't what everybody has done to you and that other people have power over you. You're dealing with what you're dealing with, and deal with it powerfully.
Yes.
Deal with it powerfully.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check my lesson file.
Because you already got what it takes. I mean, at the end of the day, you already know, and the only power that anybody has over you is the power to convince you that you can't do it. Mm-hmm. That's the only power they have. So the self-sabotage is real. And this week, I just want everyone to really just be mindful of where you're self-sabotaging and be mindful of how to reverse it. You created it, you can uncreate it.
I just have one more quick tidbit to share. In some instances, the people who are, when sometimes someone's coming at you, or when you go after people, you got to step back and say, wait a minute, how come I recognize this? I did it first. Because you got to know a thing to be able to call a thing out. And I feel like sometimes the people making the most noise are the ones who are really the ones that are executing the blame. So we got to be mindful of that blame and sit, like we said, sit with that shadow and have the conversations in the mirror. Because most of the conversations I need to tell so-and-so, go run that by the mirror first. I told my friends, I said, if you're having challenges with people, they want to call you and tell you about, tell them to go talk, put the phone on FaceTime. Let's do it all with this. Go talk in the mirror while you talking to me. Let's talk in the mirror together. You stand in your mirror and then talk to me. I want to see you. We both gonna stand in the mirror with this situation.
Mm-hmm. And another,
hear it.
Oh, mm-hmm. Ashe. Thank you, Mama. And another good place to sit with your shadow, the mirror is definitely a good place, is a closet. Find you a closet, honey. I'm saying a closet specifically, okay? I don't know what it is about a closet. It's something about a closet.
You're so silly.
Baby, listen, have you ever done it in the closet? Listen, sit in that closet. It can be coats in there and clothes and everything. It's okay. But you go in that closet, you close that door, honey, and you just sit with yourself, just you and your shadow, and you will be amazed at what you find, at what you discover. You ain't got to say no special prayers. You ain't got to do nothing. Go in the closet, close the door, sit down. Watch what happens. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's
Now,
weird.
Wheelie,
I used to
what's
do that
your
as a
question
kid.
now, Wheelie?
No question, comment.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, back in the day when I was a young girl, and my aunt would do a mommy dearest, go through my room as looking for weed. She thought I was smoking or whatever, and she'd tear up the whole room, just throw off everything, looking for something she thought was there. So, in my space and place where I was as a young girl, I would leave it and I would go to my closet, and I just sit in my closet.
Me too.
And then I would decide, this is the other Sadie part of me that popped up. I'm just going to rest in my closet and I'm going to leave my room like that for a few days. And I'm going to go in my closet and I'm going to find there was something I knew I needed and I could find there. And another thing I did, I was in a relationship in the 70s, and when I would be into pure pissosity and just want to scream, but it wouldn't come out, I hung these threads from the ceiling. And first I just go and I sit there and I wouldn't say anything. I just sit in the closet, and then I'd start macrameing in the dark. And every time I got to that place outside of that closet, I go in the dark, sit, macrame. For a few months when I came out and I looked at that piece, it was so beautiful. I did it all in the dark, in the shadow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put the shadow to work, baby. Put it to work.
Yeah. That shadow, putting that shadow to work will get you together. Thank you, now, Willie. Yes. And even now, I was little, I sat in the closet, but as a grown woman, I usually keep a prayer closet, because when the world just gets too heavy, or just when I just need to be with my soul, like just go in the closet. It's quiet, it's dark. You can just breathe and just be. And it's a challenge for a lot of people because, and this is something you have to overcome, is your fear of the dark. A lot of people are just afraid of the dark. So practice that.
I love the dark.
Ah, nice.
The better.
Yes.
It's my daughter and my grandson. I'm like, I don't see how y'all can sleep with the TV on and a light on. You know, my daughter put what is those little decorative lights.
Yeah.
In grandson's room, and I'm like, when he's not here, I unplug that.
The darkness, the darker it is, the less light that's in the room. Even like a light from a clock or something like that, it should be completely dark. And when it's the darker it is, the more your third eye can shut down. And when your third eye shuts down and rests, when it wakes back up, your pineal gland shuts down in the dark. So even if there's just a little bit of light shining in your sleep, the pineal is picking it up. So I usually I have dark covering over my windows. I don't have any, I try to limit as much light as possible when I sleep, because that's when the pineal is resting. And then when you wake up, it opens up and now it's fresh and it's rejuvenated. But think about people who sleep with the TV on, or they sleep with lights on in the room. Their pineal never rests. So eventually it crusts over, it's overactive, it's tired. And no, you can't create from that space.
Okay, because there was this lady, I just ran across this YouTube video, and she, that's the way, because I did that with RJ when he was little baby, and it was nap time. I had blackout curtains in my bedroom. My bedroom looked like it was nighttime.
Yeah.
For at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, time for a nap. Let's go in here. Yes. And I said, oh, we need to do that again.
Those blackout curtains I have you thinking this.
Baby, it's one of the best sleeps ever. Yes.
I think I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
He gonna have to, he gonna have to do that because he don't like to sleep by himself. And I said, so yeah, we gonna black out his room for 1 week.
Yeah, you'll see a big
21
difference,
days.
especially with the technology and everything. It would be very imperative to do that.
Okay.
Yep, and for everybody.
10 squeezes.
10 squeezes.
Yep. Everybody
What I
do
say?
10.
I
Not
said
you.
something.
It don't matter who said it. Just do your 10 squeezes.
So all for one, we all in this.
That's
Danielle
right.
got her hand up.
Okay, go for it.
Who, me?
Yeah, you had your hand up.
No, it was just the realization that I used to hide in the closet. I used to have fun in the closet. Just sit there in the dark, and I'm like, I ain't done that in a while. So I just think it might be something that I need to do. It's like, okay.
Ashe. I want you to really challenge yourself. That can be the challenge for this week is spend time in the dark, spend time in the closet this week.
How much time? About 15, 10?
I would say, well, here's the thing. Fear of the dark is a real thing for a lot of people. You will be amazed at how many adults, big burly mofos running around here. You know, you think they're not scared of nothing, but they scared of the dark. They scared to sit for 5 minutes in a completely dark room. You understand? So what I would suggest is slowly, like, see where your comfort level is with it, because you might be able to go into it, sit down, and then after 2 minutes, you answering it, push yourself to go 3 minutes, go 5 minutes, go 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Start somewhere.
Start somewhere, yeah. But definitely overcome that fear, because it's a subconscious psychological block to not be able to sit in the dark. You know what I'm saying? It's very unhealthy. So
we did it for some 9 months. I don't see why we should be able to get at least a minute in there. We did it for 9 months in the black hole, baby.
And really, and that's right, Het. You know, creation and your spirit of creativity, everything is created in darkness.
And we're also in darkness and water too, and that's where
don't forget the
water. That's where the water tank. What is it? The water deprivation therapy, which is something that I really want to do, where you're actually floating on water in a dark tank to really go. People be seeing some things, and I'm like, I know that's definitely an experience that I want to try. The float.
That you want to do?
I would love to do that too. That sounds dope.
Maybe it's something we can do as Elizabeth. I'll take a look into see where they. I know we have it here, and I know they're close by. So maybe
they were at the mall for a minute. The malls are closed.
Let's do it. So we have Juanita's hand up and Nawili.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is so rich, helping us tune into our soul's purpose, helping us tune into our inner light. And I just want to remind us that we have an opportunity to share the healing power of all our holistic practices. With my event that's coming up, and there's some information in the chat. What I need you all to do though is please order your t-shirt this week by my birthday, Thursday, so that I can secure the venue. Everybody who does so, you'll have no vendor fee.
Okay. Say it again now. Oh, you said it's in the chat.
Yeah, the link, and there'll be no vendor fee because God has called us to share the powers He has given us to heal our people, and that's what this is about. That I'm doing. This is just my little start in doing that, and praying that you all come along with me, that the t-shirt order is somewhat essential.
Okay, I got you, Mama.
Thank you for reminding us to keep our hearts in the right place this week. Forgiveness, humility. Thank you. Love you all.
Love you too. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be super wild this week, and really just over the next, like I said, until the spring. The energy will shift a little bit. You'll start to see a shift by the springtime, but up until then, it's gonna be a little crazy. So mind your business. Stay in your lane.
I need that shadow out for this. Might need to bring your shadow out for this season because it's about to be buck wild.
About to be buckety naked.
staying in my closet.
Baby, listen. Now, Wheelie, what you got?
I just wanted to say, on the talking about the flotation, when I first came to Detroit, Spirit moved me to investigate flotation. And so I actually bought, they had a special. It was last, I've been here a year this month, y'all. So it was really around September last year that I bought a coupon, and I'll send it out in the group text. And it was 50% off, and I bought another one. I ended up buying 4. I gave away 2, or I gave away 3. So and it was like an hour session. I think it was like, usually it was like $99. It was like $49. So I'll go back in and find that. I think it's in, I don't know the cities, y'all. Y'all know it's around, it's close. But I still haven't gone. I still gave away the 3 passes, but I have mine. So I will investigate, and yeah, maybe we can do it as a group, and I'll send that information out ASAP.
Thank you, Nawili.
Ashe today.
And happy Detroit Day for you.
Right?
Happy Detroit month. Be glad you came.
I'm grateful. I am great.
We're at 10:12. So yeah, I want to thank you, Peace, for staying in the flow and not switching over to, the computer world. We appreciate that, Danyelle. But this was so enlightening. I'd like to, at another time, I don't know what you're going to talk about next week, but I'd like to understand more about the shadow.
Okay.
The effects of the shadow.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
Absolutely.
So you can close us out.
Okay. Well, ladies, thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got everything that you need for this week. We're going to work on sitting in the dark, sitting with our shadows. So do some closet work, not a dark room, sit in a closet. There's a different effect when you do that. Okay. And be conscious of your self-sabotaging beliefs and your self-sabotaging thinking. When you find yourself telling yourself that you're not good enough, you can't do it, it's too hard, uncreate that thing. We're not doing that. Okay. Just like you can have that conversation, you can have a totally new, different conversation. There are no limits. So tell yourself whatever you want to hear. Tell yourself that. And then get in that mirror, like Mama had said, get in that mirror and really focus up and really have that conversation with yourself, because we are reversing this thing. Okay. Stay in your spirit of forgiveness, peace, compassion, and let's just make it a great week, shall we?
Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Love so much. Hug the world. Hug the world.
Love.
Thank you, Queen Aduni, for this platform.
Thank you. God
Thank you,
bless you
love.
all.
Appreciate you all.
I have
Peace
wonderful
and blessings.
peace and love.
Love you.
Peace.
And you look beautiful, Peace.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're marvelous, darling.
Thank you, darling. Thank
Look
you.
at Lolly. Look at Lolly. Woo.
Right,
Where's Lolly?
Don't go nowhere. Get back over there. Get back over there.
All right.
Okay. Where you going to, girl, on a Monday?
All right.
Work in a minute.
Okay.
Wow.
Tell you, crochet braids will change your life. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's looking good. I'm glad my eyes work so that I can see folks. Give thanks.
Yay.
And Head, you
Grateful
brought
and
it today.
creative.
Yes.
You brought it today, Head. You was in it today.
Listen, you was all up in my soul today. I was like, oh Lord. Oh, Lord. All right, y'all. We gotta
go. Peace and love, y'all.